The 2024 elections are heating up as Democratic incumbents in battleground states are scrambling to the center, trying to save their sinking ships. With President Biden's approval rating plummeting, they're shifting strategies faster than you can say flip-flop. What's really going on behind the scenes? What we're beginning to see is a fractured party where during a presidential election year, the down ballot can't rely on the popularity of the incumbent president. And so Democrats in the Senate are trying to run to the right to gaslight Americans into thinking that they don't goose step their way to vote for exactly what Chuck Schumer and Joe Biden want. And that's why you have me. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to get into the latest political drama as Democrat Senate incumbents in key battleground states are performing Olympic level gymnastics to distance themselves from the sinking ship that is Joe Biden's approval ratings. It is a desperate attempt to win over voters. The way it's going so far looks overtly pathetic. Let's start with Nevada, where Senator Jackie Rosen is emphasizing her so-called bipartisan credentials. In her first ad, she claims, "I know what Nevada families are going through. That's why I've collaborated with both parties." Yet her voting record shows that she voted with Biden 98.6% of the time last year. That's not what I call bipartisan. Okay, before we start, if you don't already know about it, I want to introduce you to a great tool online that can measure how politicians vote. I break every vote down to was the bill for liberty or taking away liberty from everyday Americans, from their own constituents. A website that does this really well is called conservativereview.com. They have what's called the Liberty Score, and they keep track of every vote that every member of the House and Senate makes and whether their vote was for or against liberty. The scale for liberty, or this Liberty Score, is like any public school test. It goes from 0 to 100. Now, Senator Rosen has a Liberty Score of 7%, which means that 93% of the time she votes against liberty for her constituents. Yeah, that's some real bipartisan move, right? All right, next up, Pennsylvania. Longtime Democratic Senator Bob Casey is in a tough fight to keep his seat. He recently distanced himself from the defund the police movement, but that's only recently. Let's be real, guys. His Republican opponent, Dave McCormick, is calling him out for shifting positions on critical issues like illegal immigration only now when he's in trouble. It's classic Democrat behavior. Act one way during the campaign and another when you're in office. But now we have the Liberty Scores because these guys can't be trusted. So Bob Casey has a Liberty Score of 6%. That's out of 100%, folks. That score means that 94% of the time, Bob Casey casts a vote that does not protect and defend the liberties of Pennsylvanians, including me. In Wisconsin, Democratic Senator Tammy Baldwin is running in a state Trump won in 2016, but narrowly lost in 2020, and she has tried to frame herself as a pro-worker candidate who advocates for the needs of the working class. While Baldwin frequently emphasizes her ties with Biden, she recently joined several other vulnerable Democrats in opposing the president's October decision to unfreeze Iranian assets. Baldwin has a Liberty Score of just 2%. That's right, guys. 98% of the time she votes against liberty for her workers. Sounds like she's really looking out for the working class, huh? Now, moving on to Ohio and Montana, where the Democratic incumbents are practically tripping over themselves to appear moderate. Sherrod Brown in Ohio and John Tester in Montana are both facing tight races. Tester has been labeled two-faced for shifting right on issues like immigration just in time for the election. People are seeing this, guys. Tester recently became the first Democrat in the Senate to support the Laken-Riley Act, which would require federal officials to arrest illegal immigrants charged with crimes similar to the illegal immigrant arrested of killing the 22-year-old Georgia nursing student after whom the bill was named. So it took lousy ratings for the president in order to get Democrats in the Senate to support the Laken-Riley Act. Just remember that, guys. Don't let them gaslight you. But is there any doubt that he came out in support of this act because he read the tea leaves and knows that Americans are sick and tired of the 11 million plus illegals roaming our country and causing chaos and havoc in our communities? Now, John Tester has a Liberty score of 8%, meaning 92% of the time he voted against Liberty for his own constituents. On Sherrod Brown, well, Brown voted with Biden 99% of the time from 2021 to 2023 and 97% of the time after 2023. Yet he has recently disagreed with the president on a few matters. Imagine that. That's Trump is surging over Biden, and his surge is helping Republican candidates as much as Biden's unpopular presidency is harming Democrats. Sherrod Brown, the Democrat who has represented Ohio in the Senate since 2007, is now fighting for re-election in a state Trump won by 8 points in 2020 and is projected to win again. Sherrod Brown has a Liberty score of 2%. 98% of the time, he votes against Liberty for his own constituents. Even as these Democrats shift to the middle, Biden is drifting further and further to the left, trying to reclaim his base with progressive policies, an event with the likes of Bernie Sanders and AOC. It's a last-ditch effort to win over voters in key states, but it's not looking too good. Biden's support is at historic lows, and Republicans are champing at the bit to take control of the Senate. So what does all this mean? It means the Democratic Party is fractured. Candidates can't rely on Biden to rally their base. In fact, they probably prefer he stays far, far away from their campaigns. 6 months before the election, and the party is splitting apart. Republicans need to exploit this division and remind voters that a leopard doesn't change its spots. And the best way you can do that is to go to conservativereview.com, click the hamburger menu at the top and select Liberty Score. Then just enter the name of your representatives and post online everywhere, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, everywhere, that your representatives suck because they vote against your liberties and freedoms a majority of the time. Get the word out that Democrats who are now trying to gaslight you into thinking they are conservative have an actual record to go by, and it doesn't look good. We need to get the message out that the Democrats are trying to gaslight the country into thinking they are conservative Republicans, better than rhinos even. And with your voices online pointing out the truth of their voting records, it will make all the difference. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you for watching. Hit the subscribe button and get ready, because the culture war rages on.
Laughed at the mall 'cause your mama forgot. I know it hurt.